Welcome to Action Answers episode 5. Today we got Danny Harf, and we're going to talk about the future of wakeboarding. So first, Danny, thanks for joining us, man, and hanging out and answering all my crazy questions. And I guess to kick this thing off, when did you start wakeboarding? Like, what was your journey into that?
Well, I actually moved to Florida when I was like 6 years old, and me and my dad and sister and mom, we all surfed in the ocean coming from California.
Yeah.
So when we moved to Florida, we started getting into some water skiing, and that's right when like the surfboard had just come out.
Oh my gosh, the surfboard.
I actually started wakeboarding with my dad and sister and mom when I was probably 10 years old on a surfboard.
Cool. And then wakeboarding happened because it was a natural transition from the surfboard.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the first wakeboard, but that was like the natural transition to keep moving into the sport.
Yeah, so I kind of grew up snowboarding and surfing, and we did some water skiing and some snow skiing. So yeah, I mean, when we saw a wakeboard, we actually were in like a sports shop down in Florida, and we saw some of the first wakeboards, and it was kind of like, you know, something that we all wanted to do coming from the surf world. So yeah, I mean, we basically just started going out on the weekends, and for a long time we would just carve the wake and basically pretended we were surfing on a wakeboard.
Yeah.
But that's right when the whole evolution happened, and the twin tip had just came out at that point. So actually I had a family friend of ours was friends with Scott Byerly.
Okay.
So one of the first people I ever saw wakeboard was Scott Byerly and Brandon Meek.
That's pretty rad.
Some of the original pro wakeboarders. So that was my introduction to the sport, and I just really fell in love with it and kind of became the thing that I wanted to do. I played soccer and baseball, but Florida's hot and humid, so I wanted to be on the lake.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you've definitely done that. I mean, you've done pretty much everything you can do in wakeboarding, which is why I think it's a great opportunity to talk to you about where the future is going to go. So if you as of today, are you transitioning more into like the business side of wakeboarding? Are you still want to compete? I guess, what does that look like in your life?
Yeah,
today?
I mean, I've been doing competition since I was basically like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm 33, so
yeah.
I mean, I've been competing on a wakeboard for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I still enjoy doing the competitions, but being 33, I'm kind of on the old side of a pro wakeboarder. But there's kids now that are 18, 19, 20 years old that are winning contests and kind of the future of the sport, which is awesome to see. But I'm definitely getting more involved in the business aspect of the industry and working with, the boat companies and also, Ronix wakeboards. And I do a lot of product development and testing, and I help a lot with the surf side of things and also with the board shapes as well. So, yeah, I mean, I still enjoy competing on a wakeboard, but it's a young man's sport for sure. You
got to understand when to transition out of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I still huck myself, and I'm still doing double flips, and I still do a lot of the big competitions, but I'm just not doing every single event that's out there because, like I said, I've been competing as a pro now for over 16 years and competing in general for over 20. So
yeah, for sure. Well, I think to understand where the future's going, you got to understand where it came from, and what was competitions like when you first started? Are they completely different than what they are today?
I mean, I would say yes and no. I mean, generally it hasn't changed too much. I mean, we're still going up and back on the lake and doing flips and spins, and I mean the sponsors have changed, the companies that are involved have changed, and I mean, I think the sport's on a good track. I know that, there has been a little bit of a decline in overall sales numbers of the wakeboards that are being sold right now. Obviously, wake surfing's become really popular.
Yeah.
But I really think that wake surfing is kind of a avenue to get onto a wakeboard.
Totally. Intro.
We have all these great boats out there that put up a huge wave to wake surf, and I know a lot of people are buying their boats to wake surf. But as kids grow up and get bored of wake surfing, I think
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of kids jumping back on a wakeboard.
Totally.
And obviously the cable park has really helped grow the sport. But I really think that, wakeboarding's here to stay and will always be a big part of the boating culture.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's a great point. I think that's so often like not thought about is everybody's just talking about wake surfing, and they don't talk about how it's a great transition into wakeboarding, and people just don't think about it that way. And I think that's awesome that.
Yeah, I mean, the cool thing about wake surfing, I think, is that you can really do it in any water conditions.
Yeah.
If you're wakeboarding, you want semi-smooth water, and if it's a busy weekend on a lake, it's kind of hard to have really good conditions to wakeboard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally supportive of the whole wake surf movement. Like I said, I got into wakeboarding from being a surfer.
Yeah.
So to me, like riding an endless wave behind a boat is kind of the ultimate thing.
Yeah.
But I also think that the adrenaline rush that you get from going 23 miles per hour and sending yourself through the air on a wakeboard will never compare to surfing at 12 miles per hour.
Not even close.
So as much as I do love surfing, if I really want an adrenaline rush and I want to go have a blast behind the boat, I'm going to jump on a wakeboard for sure.
So in a nutshell, according to you and your experience, and where is wakeboarding going today?
I mean, I think the future of wakeboarding is, on a really good path. I think there's a ton of kids right now who are really pushing the abilities of, what's possible on a wakeboard. And I mean, you got guys like Harley Clifford and Corey Tunison and Massey Pifferetti and all these kids that are really, changing the whole sport and what's possible. And guys are doing double flips and 1260s off the wake, which when I was coming up in the sport, that was not possible. So, I think the evolution of the boats and also just the equipment in general and also the accessibility of having cable parks is, I think wakeboarding's forever going to be the fourth board sport behind obviously skateboarding, surfing, and snowboarding. But if you live in middle America or on a lake and you don't have access to the ocean or a mountain, I think wakeboarding is, to me, just as fun as those other sports. And
100%.
I think that I think you're going to continue to see the sport evolve, and I think wake surfing and wakeboarding will always kind of go hand in hand. And like I said, I think with great conditions, I'd rather be on a wakeboard, but if the lake's blown out and it's busy, I'd jump on a wake surfboard instead. So
all day.
I think just people being open-minded to doing everything, slalom skiing, wakeboarding, wake surfing, just hanging out on the boat, I think will always, be an important part of boating and just the lake lifestyle.
Yeah, especially with not only being on the boat, but the evolution of drones.
Right.
I think that is bringing a whole new, because I remember, man, I mean, like Defy, for example, like your movie. I mean, the epicness and like just the dramatic effect of the helicopter was insane. But I bet if you would reshoot that movie today, would a helicopter be needed?
No, I mean, it would be a lot cheaper to make that movie nowadays. Yeah, the drone has really changed, how you can view action sports in general. With Defy, we use a lot of helicopters, and that was right when the whole digital camera revolution was really taking off. Where before Defy, a lot of the films were actually done in film. So it was very expensive to shoot film, and especially wakeboarding where you're trying a new trick you've never landed and you're falling. We were burning through tons of film. We were burning through tons of helicopter fuel. So, I mean...
So like you said, very inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, Defy was really, our goal was really to show the beauty of wakeboarding and really put the viewer up close. And that's why we picked that blue water lake that just had such a, really cool picture going on. But that was, to me, was really...
Incredible, yeah.
The goal was to really show the beauty of the sport and kind of get the viewer up close and personal with the athletes.
Absolutely. So I got one last question for you before we wrap this up. Do you see, we talk about the future of wakeboarding, so such as Defy, that's a full length, multiple riders are in it, movie. that people are watching. I mean, I remember sitting in a movie theater watching that movie get premiered. And do you see that that's gonna, are people still gonna put that much time and effort to make full length videos like that, or do you see it more like a short little, 1 minute clip, and that's kind of where the industry's headed? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. I mean, I've always loved the full length movie for action sports, whether it's surf, snowboard, or skateboard. And we were really inspired by some other action sports movies, but in this day and age with social media and everyone on their cell phone, it's hard to put out a full-length movie or even raise the money to make a full-length movie because the sponsors don't want to wait a year and a half, 2-3 years to have the final product. So with social media, I think everyone wants that instant gratification. They want to get comments on their video that they filmed yesterday tomorrow.
100%, yeah.
So I mean, I do think there will be some sort of comeback of more full-length videos and stuff, but the cell phone and obviously social media has really changed the game. So
changed the landscape completely.
As much as I love the full length, we'll have to see if it ever makes a comeback.
Yeah, maybe Defy 2 one day.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, me and Sean have discussed doing another full length, but like I said before, it's just raising money is a whole nother beast these days. So. Yeah, I mean, hopefully the full length comes back. That's what inspired me to want to be a pro wakeboarder. I grew up watching wakeboard movies on VHS tapes, so a lot's obviously changed from that point. But I think the industry has an obligation to inspire the kids who are coming up in the sport today. Mm-hmm. So whether that's through Instagram, Facebook, or some sort of full length movie, we'll just have to see.
We'll have to see. Awesome. Thanks for your thoughts, man. It's
Thank you,
good
Jathan. Yeah, good to see you.
So, thanks, guys, for watching. Hopefully, you guys feel good about the future of wakeboarding, because me and Danny definitely do. And have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
See you on the lake.